in entrepreneurship, there is always, in life, there's always going to be doubt, right? From time to time of, can I really do this thing? Is this thing for me? Am I on the right path? Human emotions, questions that come up in life. And the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship is it's a soulful, faithful act. Welcome to Mindset Mastery Podcast, where we explore the intersections of motherhood and entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Julissa Edwards, and in each episode, we're diving into mindset, emotional regulation, and the real stories of mom entrepreneurs navigating both business and family life. Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back to another episode with yours truly, Julissa Edwards, on all things mindset mastery. We have just wrapped up our cohort for BBB, Balancing Business and Babies. I am so proud of the mamas inside this container. It was such a beautiful closing, very spiritual, very calm, very grounded, a beautiful reflection setting of how far they've come and what has changed internally within their embodiment of who they are today as mothers, as future business owners, and what has transpired within inside of them. I think things can come about when you enter a new journey, whether it's healing or growth or evolution or expansion, and that might come via career, personal health, spirituality, school, education. There is a transformation that is held and that gets to be honored when we complete something. It's really important for me to allow my students to bask in their greatness, in their growth, in their evolution. And the responses that came from today's call was just so beautiful. It made me feel really grounded and centered and really grateful for listening to my life's calling. You know, in entrepreneurship, there is always, in life, there's always going to be doubt, right? From time to time of, can I really do this thing? Is this thing for me? Am I on the right path? And the right thing? Like human emotions, questions that come up in life. And the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship is it's a soulful, faithful act of self-belief, anchoring, remembering who you are, your greatness, the gifts that you embody that were given to you from divine source, God, creator, the courage to put those ideas that were given to you out there and believe that you are worthy to be seen. Believe that your work will indeed impact others. And then having the courage to continue putting your messaging out there and however you want to market your offers, have consistency in the that what you have to offer is really grand. And there's so many ups and downs in launching, but ownership, all of that jazz. We're proud to say that these mamas, these women are walking away with clarity, a really strong foundation in exactly what they have to do to run a business. Um, their efforts are being seen. How they nurture their audience, their ideal client, in their outreach, in the leads that they are receiving for their company, for their business, right? So surreal, so beautiful to see. And even though there is so much greatness happening, we also got to hold space for the fear that also exists because that's also normal, right? And so in today's episode, I really want to talk about a little heavier this week on spirituality and how that correlates or overlaps with mental health, specifically anxiety. I want to talk about releasing, surrendering, trusting, while still putting your efforts out there to the world, right? Rest. Stillness is so important for clarity. Not only as a business owner, but also as a human being, period, right? When we are going through hardships in our life, let's say in the realm of motherhood with our children, if we're going through a hard season, whatever that looks like for you right now, if you are having a hard time yourself, if you feel like you've lost yourself, finding the words, finding the emotions that you're used to having, feeling like you're no longer who you used to be, if you feel like game like you used to be able to do, maybe you were steady at the gym, or you were a runner, or you used to love fashion, or makeup or something, and it's just a part of your routine that for right now, for whatever reason, it doesn't exist. So it feels like pieces of you are falling away, right? Stillness is going to be the answer. For many of us, many of my clients, myself included, struggle with this notion of having to go, 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 go all the time. And that if something is wrong, then we keep pushing until it can get better, right? And there's nothing wrong with putting effort into becoming a better person. Hell, that's what I literally live for, and that's what I teach people how to do. But there is a important balance that comes with that, and rest, trusting, releasing is so important. Entrepreneurship has been my greatest lesson, because I became an entrepreneur before I became a mother, but mother is definitely up there as well. Of the importance of stillness and resting and not pushing like I was so used to doing my entire life. In school, if I had to crunch in some extra hours to finish an assignment or to maintain my GPA in high school, college, all schooling, um, my life taught me that if you go hard, if you grind, you will get good results. And that is true. That was my truth. And then when I became an entrepreneur, there was a new identity that began to evolve within inside of me. And that was one of the questions that I asked the moms inside of the BBB container. I said, what new identity are you embodying these days? And what old belief systems or old beliefs are you letting go of? And I know for me, in the beginning, the very beginning, like the beginning of my entrepreneurship journey, when I was like 4 months in, before I was really making any real money, like, I maybe had a couple of clients, but nothing, super sustainable yet, you know. What was indeed changing was my belief, my patterns, my behaviors, and that literally has allowed me to continue on this path. You know the saying, you have to believe it and then see it? Or I think the common one is, I'd have to see it to believe it. But sometimes in the spiritual context, or when we're doing mindset work, you flip and you learn to believe in the saying, when I believe it, then I will see it, right? You have to have the faith, the alignment, the vision first, the behavioral actions first of who you desire to be, what you desire to call in before it actually calls in. And holding that vibration and holding that frequency of, if I continue on this path, if I continue to believe, it will come. That's the hard part, right? Holding the belief, holding the vision, not getting sidetracked, not losing faith. And so for me, 3, 4 months in, what was changing with inside of me was the way that I handled quote unquote problems. Instead of pushing through, I learned to take rest. I learned that maybe my mind and my body will be better able to handle this, or better able to problem solve if I just take my mind off of it for a while. That was a very new concept for me, very uncomfortable to be honest. Maybe I can go for a walk instead of pushing through these final 2 hours of my work. Maybe I can come back tomorrow better rested. Maybe I can come back to the office later, better rested. At the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, we had a puppy. I was still working my 9 to 5, and I remember I got so lucky. I was able to get a job literally down the road from my home, in my old neighborhood. And when I got that job, we had recently gotten our puppy, which was like a baby to us then, right? And he needed to be cared for. He had to be potty training him, et cetera, et cetera. So I had flexibility in my 9 to 5 work schedule where I was able to take a 2 hour lunch break. It just extended my day a little bit longer, but for me, that was fine. It was worth it because That meant that I could take my puppy out in the morning, then come home for a 2 hour break, let him out of the cage, let him walk around, run, etc., etc. And then I literally had like a 5 minute commute, and I would go back to work and finish my work day. And in that time, my husband would have came back from work to then let my dog out again, right? So I was really grateful and really blessed for the ability to do that and have that flexibility. And then when I began to get my first clients, I remember my first client. I just spoke to her recently, actually, and I thanked her for. I don't think she knew, but I thanked her for believing in me. She was my first client, like just me. Like of course, I was a therapist beforehand, but she was the first client that I had, like in my own business practice, right? And so we were reconnecting recently, and I was like, I don't know if you know this, but you were my very first client. Like, I honor and cherish our relationship, the time that I had to have a helping hand in your healing journey, and just showing her love and giving her roses, because people deserve to hear that, right? And so I think I had her and maybe somebody else. And I was like, all right, I got two people. I slowly started to cut back from the 9 to 5. And I was open and honest about this with my boss. He knew exactly what was happening. It was no shady stuff. To each their own. You can do it however you see fit, right? And so I told him, like, hey, I'm going to start cutting back my hours little by little. And so I remember taking Wednesdays as a flex day. I would work in the job I had Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And Wednesdays were my days, and my days for my puppy. And I remember the first thing I decided to do it wasn't a day off because it was a day dedicated to my business. But the first thing that I would do was go for a 2 hour walk with my dog, Smokey. And the intention there was so that I could relax, enjoy the sunrise or the early sun, at 7 or 8 a.m. Just go for a long, long walk. I think I would journal in the mornings and we would go for a long walk. And by the time I came back, it was like maybe 10 a.m. And I would then begin my work day for the business, knowing that my mind and my soul and my heart would be in a better place to then be creative, because I was literally birthing a business, right? I just had the two clients then, but I was doing behind the scenes work of getting my offers created, my marketing plan, any homework that my business coach was giving me at that time. Like, I was doing that on those days. And then I would have my call with the one-to-one client. And I remember the first day that I was able to like be in flow and like do my journal, have my tea, take my dog for a walk, come home, do some business work, see my client, and then the day was done. And I was like, wow, this feels so good, right? Like the autonomy over my time, even though I wasn't making, a lot of money yet, right? It was just like, wow, like this is what my life gets to be. That's so exciting. Oh my God, I'm so grateful. I'm getting a taste of what is to come. You have to feel it and believe it before you can see it. And so rest and recharging was a big part of that for me. And I learned time and time again that if I gave more time to myself, more stillness, more time in nature, more time meditating in prayer, in journaling, I was so much more clear headed. I was so much more connected to self, so much more connected to source, that it was really a game changer for me. And so little by little, as I continued to gain more clients and I was able to take off more time away from my 9 to 5, I ensured that rest was a part of it. So much so that within my first year of business, going full time in the business, I remember I used to take, and this is a goal of mine to do either something similar to this, but it's a goal of mine, right? To do it again. I used to take a whole month off of my business every quarter. So I would work for 3 months and then have 4 weeks off. In those 4 weeks, it's not like I was like, not doing anything in the business, but I wasn't taking any client calls. I would check in periodically. I would have sometimes co-coaches. I could also check in on them while I wasn't there, but it was such a crazy time. But it's also just proof that like anything is possible. I was still receive income, remain profitable, and take 3 to 4 weeks off every single quarter. My clients would be held very intentionally during that time. I would have maybe like pre recorded things that would go out to them during that time. And it would be a space of I'm resting. We're taking a rest from live calls. And I can't remember if I was pregnant with my son during that time, but I remember going to like networking meetings and I would tell people what I was doing and they would think I was crazy because, hey, I mean, it sounds crazy, right? But again, anything is possible. So the point here that I'm trying to drive in is that when you take time for self to think what you really want in life and then actually have the courage and the guts to go after it, life becomes so beautiful. It takes courage. It takes a lot of, it's not easy. Like having a beautiful life is beautiful, but the steps to get here are really hard. And not hard because of, I mean, sure, you can say effort, but to me, it's always the harder part is always the inner work, the self belief, the courage to go out and do something off the beaten path. One of my clients in BBB, fear was, is this not fear? The little inside chatter was, is this really going to work? Because oftentimes, as entrepreneurs, we are doing something that others haven't really done before. And I'm not saying that in like, oh my God, like, my ideas are so good, done before. Like, no, there's plenty of mindset coaches, there's plenty of therapy in the world. It's just the way that I deliver my messaging, the way when I've ran my conscious motherhood circle program in the past, it was heavily based in spirituality. And for me, as a therapist, I went to school, got my master's, you know, I was so clinically driven, very, very black and white thinking in terms of it has to be evidence based or it's not real or it's not reputable or you can't teach unless you know for a fact that it's backed up by science, right? And then I entered the world of spirituality and I was like, little did I know that was also backed up by science. But in the beginning, it was just intuitive flow, belief, intuition, proof of concept of, well, I'm doing these things in my life and it's helping me greatly. The little bit that I share with my clients, it's helping them greatly. So why wouldn't I continue doing this? Even though spirituality is backed by science, there is evidence on this, right? But it was the belief first of let me try this new thing. Let me create a program for mom that really encompasses spirituality intertwined with mental health and how those two can really make a difference. Hey, it's Julissa Edwards, your mindset coach and spiritual healer. And if you've been looking for a space to stay grounded in your growth, deepen your healing, and be surrounded by like-minded women, let me introduce you to the Mindset Mastery Circle. This is my monthly coaching membership designed for busy women who crave consistent support, especially in the areas of motherhood, entrepreneurship, mindset, and communication. Each month, we come together for a 90-minute live call where I teach a focused topic and then open space for hot seat coaching and Q&A. And in between the calls, you'll hear from me weekly with mini voice note trainings inside a private Slack group, short and powerful insights to help you shift, realign, and stay accountable across those same 4 pillars. You'll also get access to a robust vault of on-demand training so you can learn and grow at your own pace. Enrollment is ongoing at just $198 per quarter. That's about $66 a month for high-level coaching, community, and continual mindset support. And as a Circle member, you'll also get first access to all of my new programs, offers, and events, often at exclusive discounted rates. So, if you've been resonating with my work and wondering how to stay in this energy without a high-ticket investment, this is your invitation. Join us inside the Mindset Mastery Circle at julissaedwards.com/mindset-mastery-circle-subscription or simply tap the link in the show notes below. I'll see you inside. And so that was a really big leap for me personally. It may not be a big leap for maybe you listening, but for me personally, that was big. I had fears of like, what are my colleagues going to think? And I think that what did I get my degree for if I'm now preaching something completely different? And again, in hindsight, it's not different. It's actually very much similar, but it was different language, different ideologies, different school of thought, right? And so, as an entrepreneur, you will these are things that you are creating. Like, as a therapist, I've had so many different jobs prior to becoming an entrepreneur. I worked in schools, I worked with CPS, I worked with um, under like drug and alcohol abuse. I've worked with inmates. Like I've done, oh my God, like so. I would do house calls, kind of. I would be in the field, going home to home, providing therapy, usually mandated by the government, but inside people's homes. Um, that was a trip. Like I've done so many things, and so when you work for a company, they have their own vision. Just like when people work underneath, they help me in my company. I have my vision, and they're helping me execute that vision, right? Um, when you're working for somebody else and the vision isn't aligned, let's just say, right? You're following. It's like, hey, this is what we do. Let's say for my job that I was working in the field, it was like, hey, we have this program called PLL, Parenting with Love and Limits. Here is the book. Study this, memorize it, begin to recite it comfortably. You're going to be, this is like, I can't remember, it was like an 8 week or maybe 12 week program that I would do with families and children. And it was like, okay, here you go. Once you're trained and once you've passed, that training process, then you can go out and do it in the field. And I'm not saying it's easy because that was really challenging for me. I had to do a lot of studying, a lot of memorization, a lot of practicing, but easier in the sense of there's a guide already created, and all I have to do is follow it, right? In entrepreneurship, it's very much so the reality of there's not really a guide. I'm the guide. I'm the creator. I'm the visionary. I'm the source, right? Respectfully, obviously, God's source, divine, like they are the source, but they get to speak through us. We get to speak with them. We get to create with source, with divine energy, with God, with whatever you believe in, your higher power. And it's beautiful. And it can also be extremely scary and challenging because there's no physical person that you're like talking to of like, is this a good idea? You can have colleagues and you can have, which is so important as an entrepreneur to be in a community with other entrepreneurs because it's just a different life that we live and it can get very lonely sometimes. Um, and so that's how it's scary different because there is no guide. When you face a problem in business, like of course I have my mentors that I can ask these questions to, but at the end of the day, you have to go with your own intuition. Like I've taken courses from amazing business women and some things land and some things don't. I would try some of the things that they would teach me, and even if it felt a little forced, because I'm always going to give something a try, see if it works, right? And if for whatever reason it didn't work for me, that's okay. I learned from the experience. I took what I can keep, and I'll leave what didn't resonate or didn't stick or didn't work for me personally. And that's how you begin to create your own business model, right? Your own flow, SOPs, standard operating procedures of like what works for you and your team and your business, or even before you have a team, what works for you, right? What is the path of least resistance where we're not avoiding leadership opportunities, right? And so, again, bringing it back to rest, flow, ease. Ease can only come if you're taking time to be still. If you're getting if you're having thoughts that go back and forth of like, can I do this? Should I do this? Is this going to work? If you stay in that and then push, that is what I call resistance. Because, like, yeah, you can get to the finish line, but it's going to be so much harder. Like, fix the mind, treat the mind, replenish the mind, the heart, the soul, be still, go for a walk, do something that's not work related so that you can come back to work and have a fresh pair of on it. What is the path of least resistance? It can be really hard for people to do that sometimes. And trust me, I get it because I was once there, right? And I'm still there. I have to remind, like, this is a continuous thing that I have to remind myself over and over and over again. And so there's so much power in cultivating a deep inner knowingness with your faith, with your intuition, that everything you need to know in this world is actually within inside of you. The answers that you hold are within always, right? And you can trust that try new things and maybe they work or they don't work to what you thought it would be, trust that it was a part of the plan. And everything is here for us to learn and grow and evolve from. And the greatest thing that we can have is our perspective on life, things that are happening to us, and our mindset, our behavioral responses thereafter said events for the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the great, and the blessings, and all the beautiful parts that there is to life. How do you respond to it? Are you basking in it? When great things happen, are you overlooking it? Perfect example here for my high achievers is when you reach a goal, are you taking time to sit in that goal and celebrate it? Or are you just moving on to the next thing? Because if you are, then no amount of greatness will ever make would ever feel like enough. Not celebrating all of your mini milestones. Then the body just becomes accustomed to, okay, I accomplished this thing, next, next, next. And we wonder why we are always searching for more because your energy is in lack. Your energy is in there's always something else to do. So even if day you receive 1,000 clients, you make $1 million in your business, it doesn't matter. It won't be enough because you just be so accustomed to doing the next thing. So what I'm asking you here is to stop the behavioral pattern of doing things like that. And however that looks like in your life, to stop, breathe, rest, reflect, so your body can catch up, fully integrate with the transitions that you are going through, the evolutions that you are going through in life. If we can learn to do that more often than you're doing now, your life will come with more ease, more flow, less resistance. Okay, this concept way of living for me is what has allowed for ease and grace in motherhood and entrepreneurship and in overall in my life. And it doesn't mean that my life is easy. It's hard. It comes with its challenges, 1000%. um I personally think I just have healthy perspective, like overall perspective on how I handle my adversities, because I will go unconscious from time to time, just like any other human being, and will either try to push or I'm not seeing the greater message here. And then, sure enough, I am reminded slow down. If you're not getting the answer, if you're feeling frustrated or stressed, slow down. There's some inner work to be done here. And like I am human, when those emotions rise up within inside of me, oh my God, it is so uncomfortable. I don't like it at all. I don't want to say I hate it because I know better enough now where it's like, oh, it's like annoying. It's like, oh, after this is the part that I have to do to reach the other side. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm over it. I'm over it. But I sit through it anyway. I don't distract. I don't dissociate. I don't scroll. I don't watch TV. I sit in it. And not all day. Like I'm human, right? Like I feel the uncomfortable feeling. Something's coming up for me. What happened today? What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? How can I provide for myself? How can I help? What do I need? Do I need coffee, tea, water, a walk, playtime with kids? What do I need? And then after, yeah, let me rest and watch a TV show at night. That's just me, right? Balance. There's no one here is perfect. Balance. The best thing that we can do is just simply have the intention for stillness, the intention to know oneself better, the intention to lean inward, the intention to get to know ourselves better and better every day, every week, every month, something to that sort, right? And know that when there's weeks where we go unconscious, that's also normal. As long as we can come back and remember the importance of stillness. So that is all for today, you guys. I really wanted to hone in on the importance of spirituality, faith, and the courage it takes to live a life that you really, really, really love and desire and feel really blessed to be a part of. And honestly, feel that you have some, if not a lot, of autonomy over, right? You definitely want to be practice gratitude even when you're in a place and you're not really happy about, and that's okay. The two things can exist. You can strongly dislike the chapter that you're in and still find things to be grateful for in that chapter while you're working on bettering your external circumstances, right? Um, and then when you lean into the inner work and do the courageous thing and take time to sit still with self and learn what it is that you really want to go after in life, and And one, gain the clarity, that's huge. But then two, the harder part, actually go after it. That's the type of woman that I'm calling into BBB, bouncing business and babies. That's the type of individual that I want to work with, where you know that there's going to be, I don't want to call it struggles, but there's going to be new heights that you have to climb to in order to achieve the thing that you want to achieve. I'll help you with all the logistics, right? For me, business has been a way to free myself of, think about it. I mean, like with the work that we do, you're spending majority of your life working, right? It takes up 8 hours every day, give or take, maybe more, depending on how you work, what you work in, whatever. 40 hours a week, 45 hours a week, commuting, all that jazz. Like, if you're desiring a life where that chunk of time gets to be liberated in a sense where, like, no, you're not going to not be working, but it's going to be something that really calls to you, something that you really feel is your life's purpose, not just something that you're really good at. We want that too, of course. Something that you're really good at naturally that you would love to do every day. And it would be so amazing if you could get paid for that. And imagine if you could get paid well for it. That life does exist. It existed for me. I went from being a burnt out therapist who believed that I could never make more than like 40 an hour, 50 an hour, because that's what was taught to me, to be honest, in schools, through my mentors, through the therapists that I followed, not because they were trying to stunt my growth, but that was just the norm in the field that I was in. To then running my own business, and a year to 18 months later, tripling my monthly income, seeing things that I thought was never possible. It doesn't matter what you're doing now and who you want to be. What I'm here to tell you, and if you're listening this far, is that whether you are fully certain of it or not, what you would want to do in life, what would really bring you happiness, a life like that does exist. It doesn't mean that everything is peaches and rainbows and butterflies, but a life most definitely exists where you get to do the thing that you love to do, get paid well for it, and also have autonomy over your time, autonomy over your life. And if that is something that you would like to work towards, then with open arms, I welcome you into BBB. I'll leave the link below in my show notes. Please apply. The next cohort is beginning May 21st. I think that's a Wednesday, if I remember correctly. We're about 3 weeks out, give or take. And we already have beautiful mamas inside that I cannot wait to work deeper with. Real women, real mamas, juggling toddlers, babies, and everything in between. If this is the life that you desire, this is your sign. Click the link below, apply. I can't wait to get you on my calendar. There's no pressure to join. It's just a conversation that we have of, hey, what are your dreams? What do you want clarity on? Is this possible for you? What would you like to attain? What would you like to grow if you were to work with me? And if it makes sense and if it feels intuitively aligned, spiritually aligned, then we'll go ahead and work together and we'll talk about what that looks like. That's all for today's episode. Thank you always for allowing me to spend time with you. Thank you for listening. And as always, if you love this episode, love this podcast, please leave us a review. It only helps this messaging get to the ears of people just like yourself who need to hear it. So that is all for now. We will talk soon. Thank you for joining me today on Mindset Mastery Podcast. I hope today's conversation inspired you to embrace your own journey of balancing motherhood and entrepreneurship. Remember, it's all about mastering your mindset to create a life of success and fulfillment in both areas. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share it with a friend, and leave a review. Your support helps us reach more incredible moms just like you. Until next time, keep showing up, keep growing, and mastering your mindset.